Hello, it's Melinda from Scrapbookingncraft. How you all going? I am retaping this. I did do this in a live today, but unfortunately the video quality was terrible. The internet was playing up substantially. So I decided to delete that footage because you couldn't see anything anyway, and decided to just film a short video that I will put up on Facebook. So I apologise this can't be live again. So I just thought I'd catch up and let you know what's happening in the next few month and a half with my business and what I'm collaborating with Hillbilly Scrapping. I've got some notes off to the side here so I don't forget some dates and things, and just let you know what's going on, and then I'm going to do a demonstration of how I made these cards. So first off, we've got Hillbilly Scrapping and I are combining in a challenge group called Hillbilly Scrapping Challenge Hub. Oh, it's a Facebook group. If you do have trouble finding it, just message me through the Facebook and I will drop you a link. Should be easy to find. And each month we are sponsoring either a card, a scrapbook page, or an art journal page, 2 out of those 3. So Hillbilly Scrapping sponsors one of the categories for $25 gift voucher, and I sponsor the other one. So you can either win a $25 scrapbooking voucher from Scrapbooking and Craft or a $25 one from Hillbilly Scrapping. If you're lucky, you might win both for the month. You never know. Got to be in it to win it, as they say. So each month we're going to have a theme or a challenge. So our first theme is inspired by autumn, because March is the first month of autumn. So inspired by autumn. Interpret that how you like. You could be inspired by an event in autumn, like Easter or something. You could be inspired by the colours of the leaves, the shapes of the leaves, anything. Take it however you like it. We are going to make them quite broad so you can interpret them however you like. These are some of the cards I did to show my Inspired by Autumn cards using one of my stencils. I'm going to show you how to make these cards a bit later on. So that challenge ends on the 31st of March, and we'll have a new one for April. So you've still got 6 days. So you've still got plenty of time. So this particular month, it is a card and an art journal page. And as I said, there's a scrapbook option as well. So we rotate 2 out of those 3 per month. Okay, what have I got coming up? I have got some lovely design team members doing some designing for me. So they are doing 5 projects over the next, or between now and the rest of the year. So I'm doing my design team a little differently. I sent them all the same product. So they all got a stencil to play with. So they have all made fantastic projects. I believe we've got a card, 2 art journal pages, and whatever I come up with in the next 2 days to do it. Yeah, I'm a little late with mine. Oops. But that's all right. Still got plenty of time. Plenty of time. So that will start on March 29th on my Facebook group. Facebook page. So we'll be featuring each artist for the day, and I'll pop their social media links in so you can go check all out their other work as well. I thought it would be fun to see how different people interpret the same products. So that will be fun. The next month they are working with chipboard. So it will happen about every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on where I am and what I'm doing with events and craft shows and everything like that. So that's happening next month. And then we have got our second in-person craft show for the year. We've just come off Bendigo, and oh my God, it was so great to be at a in-person show. It was fantastic. Bendigo was a good one to start with. It was the one that ended all craft shows last year. We went into lockdown. I think it was the Monday after the craft show last year. So we managed to sneak it in. And it was good to be back in Bendigo for the first one for 2021. And oh wow, people turned out in their droves and they bought lots of crafty things. I think people have been using up their stash in the last 12 months. And it's fun to shop in person. And my classes were booked out before the show started. Fantastic. Fantastic it was. I had loads of fun teaching. Although I had to swap my hat from teaching online to teaching in person. Took me a bit to get my head around it, but we got there eventually. So Craft Alive is the Ballarat show, and that's the 9th to the 11th of August in Wendouree Sports Centre, which is a suburb of Ballarat. So if you're coming to Ballarat Craft Alive show, jump onto the craftalive.com.au website, which is the company that's hosting the event, and you can see the classes that I'm running. My phone number's there, so if you want to book, and I do encourage you to book before the show. We only have, due to social distancing and COVID, yeah, we're all sick of those words, we only have 4 spots per class per day. So I believe there's 3 classes running, or there might be 4 classes running each day. But we only have 4 spots on the table per class. So do book early. We have 3 major classes, and we have that run twice over the 3 days. So Ballarat is a 3-day show. So for example, we've got our mixed media canvases, and it's running twice over the 3 days. We've got our Delusions art journal page. So if you're art journaler, bring your art journal page along. If you've never art journaled before, we'll supply you with some watercolour paper to get started. That's running twice over the 3 days, and our Tim Holtz distress cards with the Tim Holtz, trying not to yawn, but it is getting late at night, with the Tim Holtz paper dolls. I call them dead people, apologise. I think Tim Holtz calls them dead people too. That is running twice over the 3 days. What is running every day is a black and white feature card with Jane Davenport's face, and then we make fun hair. So that runs every day. So we are doing all those classes, so don't hesitate to ring and book. Next on our list is a virtual scrapbooking mixed media event. What's a virtual? It's a retreat. What's a virtual retreat, you ask? A virtual retreat is when you stay in your own house, or you can get together with friends. That would be cool too. Basically stay at home, and it's a Facebook group, and we host it over 3 days. We've got some fantastic artists joining us. We've got Michelle Grant. We've got Tanya Fuard. I always pronounce her name wrong. We've got Neve Bailey. We've got myself doing a few classes as well. So any of those details can be found on the Hillbilly Scrapping website. So if you jump over there, and just remember hillbillyscrapping.com, there's no .au, even though she's an Australian site. So they are lots of fun. You get a class kit included in your entry cost. You get lucky door prizes. You get a fantastic gift of some scrapbooking stuff. What else do you get? Access to all the live demonstrations. And saying that they're live, they're all hosted on Facebook. So they are, and some of them are pre-recorded videos. So any of the live demonstrations are recorded, and you can watch them back at your leisure. Say, for example, you're in the middle of a live and the husband or the kids draw you away from the computer, as it happens at home. You can come back after the live is finished and watch it again and again up to 12 months' time. So you can do it at your own leisure. Even if you find you're not available the weekend the event runs, still join in as much as you can, and then all the content is there available for you at a later date as well. And then Hillbilly Scrappin has her in-person retreat in Echuca Moama that I'm teaching at again. I think I'll become part of the furniture for the Echuca Moama retreats. I teach all the classes there. So that's happening on the 28th, 29th and 30th of May. And the virtual is on the 7th, 8th and 9th of May. So we've got 2 fantastic events with classes from myself coming up. And there'll be some sneaky peekies of some of the projects coming out soon. This weekend is my weekend to get all of them finalised. And hopefully our goodies arrive in time. If not, I'll be scrambling to make another project. Okay, that's enough off my list. Now, oh, no, I forgot one thing. It's on the top of my list. Okay, so Hillbilly Scrapping and Scrapbooking and Craft, so Jen and I, have decided to release some virtual classes this year. Mainly, I will be filming the majority of them, but Jen from Hillbilly Scrapping will be doing some as well. So we've released our first one. It is up on the Hillbilly Scrapping website, and it's an art journal page because that's where my heart lies at the moment, and that's what I can do quite easily. So this art journal page we actually taught at the November Hillbilly Scrapping retreat in, where were we? In Swan Hill. And oh my God, that was a hot one. It was like 45 degrees and no aircon. That was fun. Sorry, you're getting a sneaky peek at my book. Oh, there's the page. So this is the art journal page I taught at the retreat. And this is the one we have got a virtual class for. Now, in the virtual classes, you get a lot of the consumables, but we're not putting in a lot of paints and things. We're trying to keep the classes very affordable. So in this particular class, you get the foam stamp from myself, my business. You get a gorgeous darkroom door rubber stamp. I've used a different one on here because this was my This was my sort of practice page, and then we decided to turn it into a class. So I'll show you this one and the other one I actually filmed because they're slightly different, sort of the same, slightly different. So you get the foam stamp from me, you get the rubber darkroom door stamp, you get a stencil from me. Obviously yours won't be covered in paint, I promise. You get all the stamped images to use from Delusion. So there's 4 different stamp sets we've used stamped images from. So the only thing you really need to add from your stash is paints. I will tell you the ones I've used in case you don't have any acrylic paints and you want to purchase some from Hillbilly Scrapping while you're there. I have used Dina Wakeler Media paints, and I've used Lime, Ocean and Peacock. And I must get more of those 3 colours. They're 3 of my favourite colours. And my jars are getting very, very empty. I can feel by the weight of them, especially that lime one. I'm not a green person, but I've used a lot of lime. It's a gorgeous colour. So a lot of the virtual classes, you will get the bones of the page, like everything you need to complete apart from the paints and things like that, and you need a black pen just to do some outlining on the shapes. You get the quote as well, and you also get some photocopied. This is a magazine image. Couldn't find any more of these, so I photocopied some black and white images to put into your kit. If you don't want to use that one, feel free to use a photo of someone. Someone in the Swan Hill Retreat used a photo and looked fantastic. Or you can dive into a magazine and find a magazine image instead of the photocopy ones I put in. So that's up to you. So the virtual classes are all based around a technique, and feel free to change the page, change what it looks like to suit your personality. So this is the actual one we've filmed, and these do stick up for a reason. I didn't stick them down completely because I wanted this sort of movement on my page. So half of these aren't stuck down properly. So this is the actual one that we've filmed the page. As you can see, this book is bigger than this book because this book is nearly filled up. I work in recycled books. So I had this bit of a gap here. So I have included this title in your kit, Spread Your Wings and Fly. That is another Delusions stamp set. So within this, this is a border stamp set. That's 1, flowers is 2, 3, 4. There's 5 different stamp sets. And the quote, 5 different stamp sets we've used. So I've hand stamped out all those images for you. So again, it's the same sort of principle. We've got the fern leaves. The only other thing you'll need is a thin black pen and a thick black pen, and you'll be right to go, and your paints. So I am planning a lot more virtual classes as well. So stay tuned to hillbillyscrapping.com. You can find them under retreats and events on her page. If you have trouble finding them, just shoot me a message. Message me and I can share the link with you. If you have any problems with the video, don't understand anything, sometimes I think I'm explaining it doesn't quite come out right, don't hesitate to message me as well. So the advantage of doing a video class or a virtual class is you can stop the video and do the background of what I've just done, watch another 10 minutes, 5 minutes, do that step, or you can watch the video all the way through, get a general idea of what the art journal page is all about and how to do it, and then go off on your own and do it. You can also mute me, which some people really like the idea of. So that's what the virtual classes are all about. Now what we're going to do is put that all off to the side, and I thought I'd do a quick demo of how I made these little autumn cards. So this is what I made for the autumn challenge for the Hillbilly Challenge Hub group on Facebook. And I was just fooling around making some cards, and then I decided to get my die cut machine. I do prefer these two that I've die cut more than the other two, more than these two. Don't get me wrong, I do like these ones, but these ones just add a bit more of a layer, and I should have probably put them up on dimensionals, but that's okay. Card making is not my strength. I much prefer an art journal page. I much prefer something bigger, but I'm trying with cards, I'll put it that way. So I'll show you what we've done. So this was the one I did in the live, so we're going to do the panel. So I'm just going to make the panel today. So basically what I've done is I've made the panel. This one I've taken to my die cut machine and cut it down. So I'm working on 5-inch card bases, I think, so you do lose a little bit. I find I tend to work a bit bigger because then if I muck up the edges and get a bit of ink or paint on it that I don't like, I can always position my die to grab what bit I want. And these are just craft card bases. I believe they're 5 inches in size. So I'm just working on some Beati 100, 80 GSM, might be a bit thicker. It's a BRT Mixed Media cardstock. Jen sells this as well. And I'm going to use a blending brush, or an ink blending brush. Jen sells these as well. That's where I buy all my supplies from. I believe these are, she has the Paper Rose ones in. Mine isn't that particular brand, but it's exactly the same thing. And what I'm going to do is, these are two of my stencil designs. Obviously, your stencils don't get covered in paint. This is part of my stencil / mask range. So when you purchase this, these little sizes are $3 each, so they're fantastic value. You get the mask, so the piece that comes out, and you get the stencil, so they're great to combine. I'm going to use the little one this time. I'm going to combine them with some Distressed Oxide inks. Let me see if I can just zoom you in just a little bit so you can see. And of course, I'm not. Let's see if we can zoom you in. Bear with me, I'll just focus it and stop the autofocus. So I like using Distressed Oxide inks because they stack on top of each other, and you can sort of see the layers where his original inks, Distress inks, that don't have the white opacity of the Distress Oxides, they actually muddy into each other a bit more. But you can sort of see these leaves, you can see how they stack on top of each other. Let's go a bit more. Let's go red, brown, and green. This one I've used Wild Honey, whatever that one's called, peeled paint and gathered twigs, but let's throw the red in just for something different. My oxides get a bit neglected, so let's get them out and play. Now these stencils, obviously you can have, this one is not turning as much as this one, but you can flip them over as well. Now I apologise, I'm probably going to wiggle the table a bit. This particular one I am going to cut out as well. So this one I want to do all over the card, like this one. If I'm leaving a room for a sentiment, I deliberately left a bit of white space on this one for the sentiment. Just got to remember I have zoomed in my camera, so I've got to stay in focus. So when I'm using my blending brush, I do like to start with the lightest colour. Just see if I got any brown left in it from last time. No. So I'm just going to position my stencil, hold it down with my fingers, grab some of my oxide. My oxides probably need re-inking. So I'm just going to go down the middle to start with, where the stem is. Then I'm just going to lightly go around in circles. Obviously bearing in mind that in the middle here, these bits will stick up a bit after you've used the stencil a lot, but just be gentle and it shouldn't cause a problem. And there we go. See, I love how we get this two-toned effect. So I've gone really heavy over the stem and I've gone lighter in the flowers. So I'm just going to move my card around and move around and do probably 3. So usually you can just tap like this, but because my ink pads are getting a bit dry, I will just scrape it across. I must admit, until I discovered these blending brushes, I did not use my ink pads with stencils like this at all. I would sort of use the blending foams from Distress and Tim Holtz, the foams on the wooden sticks, but I found I was a bit heavy-handed and I got big blobs where I didn't want blobs. I love these blending brushes. They are a fantastic investment and they're not too expensive, which is fantastic as well. Everything's fantastic today. So just going straight through the stem and then just going round and round in circles. Obviously the more you go over and over it, the darker it will be. So I'm deliberately doing some sections a bit darker and a bit lighter. But I do love this tone on the leaf. So I've done with gathered, peeled paint, that one is. Sorry, this one's gathered twig. So to clean in between, because I'm going from lighter to darker, now if I've got a bit of green still in my brush, put it in the brown, it's not going to contaminate it. But for example, I went from brown to even a lighter green, I would look at doing, usually to clean my brush, I just do this. The brushes pick up such a small amount of ink, like there's not a big goopy lot of ink in there, so it's pretty good. So I'm just going to do gathered twig. Whoops. So as you can see, I'm just going down the one direction with the stem. This stencil is a battered and bruised, so it is sticking up a bit. But what I tend to do is when they get a bit like that, I stick it under a heavy book. Usually forget I'll put it there. And it straightens itself back out. So let's put a big one through here. So as you can see, I'm just going sort of downward instead of going back up that way, because I know I'll kick that little bit of the stencil up that's sitting up. That's not a problem. So it doesn't take long to do this at all. And I'm just sort of, those are a bit too close in the way they're sitting, but we will fix that up. So I'm just trying to have this as a pile of leaves, just like falling on the floor. So they're all random, all different directions. Flip your stencil over, do some from the back side as well, or the reverse side. So I've done 3 of that colour, so let's put the lid on these. And let's go in with some fired brick. I do have a new crackling campfire somewhere. I should grab that. Don't exactly know where I put it. I bought it home the other day when I was up there at Hillbilly Scrapping, so I bought the new crackling campfire ones, but I've put them somewhere safe. When the craft shop Bendigo came, I had stuff everywhere. I was bagging and packaging chipboard and stuff, and a lot of stuff in my lounge room got sort of pushed to the side and obviously under another pile of stuff. So I'm just going to do this one really lightly over the top, just to fill in this bit of gap that I've got. As you can see, I'm sort of coming in from the direction of the leaves, and that will help it get a stem in the middle as well. So I'm trying not to go really dark where the stem is, where it's going to hit another leaf as well, because I don't want that. Let's flip this over and go from the other direction. I don't want sort of the stem sitting out in the middle of nowhere. That makes sense. So you basically keep going it until you've covered up your entire page. Not much science to this. It's sort of a quick, simple card. You can sort of come in and do like little bits. I'm not going to put the whole stencil on. My oxides definitely do need re-inking. I have not used them for a while, and I decided to pull them out for this project. They get a bit forgotten, my oxides. They're packed away in a box. I tend to only craft with what I can see, unless I want to go. And then I was doing this card and I thought, oh, what product am I going to use on this? And then I thought, oh, I'll grab out my oxides. But I tend to only craft with what's on my desk. So often you see things out of order, but often I'll use the same stencil, especially in my personal art journal and personal craft. I'll just grab whatever's on my desk and I'll have the same colours going in several projects. So now we can just decide if we like what we're doing, if we need to add a bit more. I might go back and add a little bit more green up here. So to clean this, I'm just going to just scrap on some scrap paper. And as you can see, not much ink's coming out. So this blending brush holds not much ink at all, which is really good. It sort of transfers the ink straight on your paper. I know I'm going to cut a bit of this off the sides, but I don't know which bit I'm going to line up, so it doesn't take much. I'm having fun. There's my watch buzzing at me. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So what I like about this technique is each card is unique and different. So these are the 2 I've done. This is with the thicker leaf stencil. So I believe this is called medium foliage. This one's called small foliage, mask and stencil set on my website. So I love that every time you do one of these cards, it is slightly different. So you're never going to be able to place your leaves in exactly the same spot. And you want your leaves to look like they're scattered and coming in from all different directions and things as well. I think I like this one with the smaller leaves. So I will go turn these into cards, and I may pop up a picture on Facebook, but you've already seen these ones. So it's going to look something like this. So to create this one, I've actually got a set of pink dies, square dies. So this is a 5.5 inch card. So I've got a die that slightly fits in there. I find I can't cut paper to save my life. So all I did with this one is I cut that square out. I cut this size square out, and then I went to the next size and cut that square size out. So I've got a bit of a frame to use on another project in my scrap box. And that's what I did with the oval as well. So these are all made with nesting dies. So I did square, bigger oval, smaller oval, and this is a sentiment stamp I just pulled out of my stash. It says, hello friend. I liked how it was quite black on the project. So I do like these, but also I do like these as well. They're different. You never know, if you order from Scrapbooking and Craft, you might get one of my cards. I tend to make lots for examples and then go, what am I going to do with them? Sometimes they find their way into orders. So that's all I wanted to have a chat to you about today of our upcoming projects and share with you that little demonstration. I am looking at doing regular lives, except I tried to look at my diary the other day for a particular day and a particular time. Yeah, that's fun trying to look in my diary at the moment. There is so many appointments, shows, different things. It's nuts. But I will try to get on as live as many times as I want. Oh, I'd love to do it every day, but yeah, that's not going to happen. I will get on and do a live as many times as I can and bring you the updates for the shows and etc. Might be able to bring you some sneak peeks, bring you some virtual classes. We've also got another virtual show with Craft Alive coming up as well soon. I believe that might be the end of April, start of May. Not quite sure. I didn't write that date on my bit of paper. But if you do like this Facebook page or select follow, don't really understand the difference between those two, but if you tick one or the other, you will get notifications when I do stuff. I am working on some new products as well, so I have new products coming out in probably, well, April's next week. It's going to happen for the 1st of April. Sometime in April, or it might be, I'll hold them off until the Great International Craft Show, Craft Alive again. We'll see. If I get them up done earlier, I will put them up earlier. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you around soon. So I'd love to see you in the Hillbilly Scrapping Hub doing some autumn-inspired projects, or at some of our craft shows, or leave us a comment on Facebook online. Love to chat to you all. Bye for now.